see. Moving on to the other big story that we're tracking. Assam's war on child marriage continues. More than 3,000 people have already been arrested by the police so far. The Assam police has registered the case on many under the Pocso Act, where the age of the bride was under 14 years. This has invited some piercing questions from the Gauhati High Court. The court doubted the legality of the Pocso Act being applied here. Assam is one of the worst performers on the indices such as maternal mortality rate and infant mortality. This move by the government of cracking down on child marriages aims to target what they believe is the root cause of this issue. The crackdown began earlier this month when over 4,000 child marriage cases were registered. The opposition has alleged that under the guise of this crackdown, the government is actually targeting Muslims. Earlier, while speaking exclusively with CNN News18, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma had cleared that the crackdown is not against one community and they were only targeting people who have violated the law. As the crackdown on child marriages continues in Assam, the police is now setting up additional prison facilities to house the accused. Overall, more than 3,000 people have already been arrested as far as this crackdown is concerned. 93 of them are actually women. 4,000 plus child marriage cases have been registered and over 8,000 accused have been named in various FIRs. Here is how men are being charged by Assam police in their crackdown against these marriages. So men who have married girls below 14 years of age are being charged with the Pocso Act. Men who have married girls between 14 to 18 are being charged with the Child Marriage Act section. But the Gauhati High Court questioned the application of the Pocso Act while granting anticipatory bail to some people booked under the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. The court said allegations are serious, they're not preventing the agencies from probing, but they also questioned rape allegations, calling them weird. What is the Pocso charge here? The court questioned. They added, merely because Pocso is added, does it mean that judges will not see what is there? The court also observed that this is causing havoc in the private life of people. Child marriage is bad, but should all be arrested, the court asked. They said these matters do not require custodial interrogation. That was one of the reasons why they granted bail. And they also told the agencies, if you find someone guilty, file a charge. Now, these observations are a matter of discussion because in 2017, the Supreme Court was very clear that sex with a minor wife is also rape. Here's what they said. That sex with minor wife, despite consent, is rape. Girl below 18 cannot be treated as a commodity. She has right to deny sexual intercourse with her husband. Rights are very much alive whether she is married or not. And a child remains a child whether she is married or not. So given that, the question we ask is slapping Pocso in these crackdowns on child marriages right or excessive? Joining us on the show is Pramod Swami, who's Assam BJP spokesperson, Sujata Paul of the Congress Party. They've questioned the crackdown in the past. Mrunalini Deshmukh is senior Supreme Court advocate who's also joining us on the show. Going across to Mrunalini first, given that the Supreme Court has said in the past that if you have sex with your minor wife, married or not, this is, illegal. Do you feel that the Assam government is right in invoking charges under Pocso for cases where the girl is under 14 and rape, etc., as far as this child marriage crackdown is concerned?
At the outset,
Hello.
the intent behind attacking... hello, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
The intent behind cracking down the child marriages and bringing an end to it, because under the existing law, child marriages are not valid marriages, and obviously there is a Child Marriage Restraint Act which is applicable in our country. But the manner in which the government is going and treating them as criminals is something which I am not in favor of, number one. And number two, as you were just saying at the commencement of your of this show, that there have been several cases where even the courts have held, in the Assam court has held, that can you apply certain draconian things like a Pocso in a case of a child marriage against the persons who are the members of the family in which a child marriage has been given. Because Pocso, the aim and objective of Pocso is different from what could be in a child marriage. So there is a difference between the two, the understanding of what is a sexual assault or a sexual on the child or on a minor as far as POCSO is concerned, and as far as the child marriage is concerned. Thirdly, and more importantly, when we are talking about having a control over this, there has to be a method, and there has to be a method in the madness also, as they always say. And it could be done, as the court have said, you register an FIR, you do the investigation, you do find out what things are happening, but this cannot mean that you can take such harsh and such kind of heavy action against people where the wrong that they have committed is a civil wrong. It is not a criminal wrong. A Child Marriage Restraint Act is a civil law, correct, where a child, a girl under the age of 18 and a boy under the age of 21 cannot get married. But when this is what the situation is, how is it that you are applying criminal law for the purposes of achieving what the goal is? That is where I find a little disconnect in which the government or the authorities, as I would like to put it, are dealing with this issue. But otherwise, having said this, I truly believe that this, in a way, a pressure to stop child marriage is a good thing. A little arm twisting is good, but not the extent to which it is happening. Just to
so you're saying that maybe as a deterrent, you do need crackdowns and you do need to come down hard on child marriages, but maybe the application of POCSO wasn't right. The court also questioned rape. I'm guessing that was in context of POCSO only. But let me go across to Pramod Swami, who's joining us. Pramod Swami, you've heard what the lawyer on the panel is also saying. The Gauhati High Court also raised these questions. I should say that they're not really orders, but these are observations the court made while looking at bail applications of some of the accused. So, isn't the Assam government going overboard? Isn't the Assam government going overboard?
देखिए ऐसा है कि कोर्ट जो है समय समय पे ऑब्जर्वेशन देता है
जी बोलिए
और तो ये
looks like we have some audio.
निश्चित तौर पर कार्य करती है. हेलो,
आप अपनी बात एक बार दोबारा बोलेंगे प्रमोद स्वामी जी? बोलिए.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
जी जी बोलिए.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
I can hear you, Pramod Swami. Hello. Can you hear me? Not sure what I can do here, but let me go across to Sujata Paul of the Congress Party. Sujata Paul, what also is a question that sometimes the opposition gets as far as these cases are concerned is that one, you earlier made it about Muslims, even though the facts and the figures and the data show that virtually all of those arrested or accused, it's divided 50-50 between Hindus and Muslims. So you communalize the issue to begin with. Some parties continue to do this in Assam till today. And then there are questions always raised and not, it kind of communalizes or politicizes the issue instead of looking at what the government is trying to do.
You have to decide whether you want to call it communalizing or politicizing. Now,
it can be both at times.
No, it is not. Yes, so you can decide on what you want to ask me about. But let me tell you that we are a political party, and politics is not about dirty politics only, which is called politicizing. It is also about politicizing issues for the betterment of society. Now, whenever there are societal issues, and this is a civil matter, marriage is not a criminal matter. So when you compare, marriage and sex in marriage and bring in POCSO into it, then there are questions which are bound to be raised. Because if you look at the statistics, 3,041 people, including 93 women, have been arrested since February 3. 4,074 cases registered and 8,000 people have been named. Now, in society, whenever you have to bring change, you must remember that people who are uneducated, they are the ones who will probably do something which will not benefit them also. If there is child mortality and, infant mortality and mothers also dying during childbirth, we must remember that it is education and awareness which should be undertaken. People need to be educated. You can't just bring a law and impose it on them, and that is the problem that we have. So even if it means a large number of a particular community is getting targeted, we do have a problem with that. But in addition to that, it could be across communities. We have a problem with a law which is brought in without thinking through. Wasn't there a child marriage restraint act earlier? It is there. So the thing is that people need to be educated about it. The fear of the law should be there. We all agree to it. Nobody wants child marriages in the country. But in addition to that, you must also understand the societal pressures which are happening and how to counter them.
Okay.
It is the job of the government.
But the child
to
marriage has been outlawed in India for quite some time. And according to some of the recent data that I saw, nearly 20% I think of Indian girls are still getting married under the age of 18. So the problem continues to prevail at a pretty high level. In Assam, the problem is even above the national average. What is wrong if the Assam government is acting on this? Because sometimes people don't listen unless they know that there will be legal issues for them. Otherwise, it is business as usual.
No, Shivani, see, the problem is we live in a society and we live in a civil society. So there are laws. So if there are laws, why do we have laws? So that people fear the law and people become aware of the law.
Yes.
But it is always the marginalized communities and across religions. So let's not get religion only into it. Across communities, wherever there is poverty, there's lack of education, people do, certain things which don't benefit them. In fact, they harm them.
Okay,
like
but can I just say that I don't think today people don't know that it is illegal. People are willfully defying because this campaign to not have child marriages has run in India for several decades, and this cannot be an excuse in perpetuity. But Pramod Swami is with us. I lost the line with him earlier. Pramod Swami, the question the Assam government is facing today कि आप कुछ ज्यादा ही जबरदस्ती कर रहे हो लोगों के साथ, चाइल्ड मैरिजेस पे आप अटैक कर रहे हो, वो एक चीज है, लेकिन आप बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शंस ले रहे हो और लोगों को अरेस्ट कर रहे हो, पॉक्सो का एक्ट लगा रहे हो, रेप के चार्जेस लगा रहे हो, वो सही नहीं है इन केसेस में. प्रमोद स्वामी.
नहीं, पोस्को एक्ट 2012 ये तो हम लेके नहीं आए. ये यूपीए की सरकार में जो कानून बना था उस कानून को.
So you don't implement laws without thinking them.
तो यूपीए सरकार ने फिर इसको पास किया.
ओके, प्रमोद जी, आपकी ना आवाज सही से नहीं आ रही है. क्या आपको लगता है कि पॉक्सो लगाना गलत था? पॉक्सो का एक रीजन है, उसकी एक वैल्यू है, लेकिन इन केसेस में क्या पॉक्सो लगाना गलत था? जस्ट बिकॉज इट एग्जिस्ट डजंट मीन यू कैन अप्लाई इट हियर. कोर्ट ने भी यही सवाल पूछा है.
को जो करना चाहिए सरकार वो कर रही है. और ये पोस्को एक्ट 2012 जो है.
Shivani, can I come in?
One second. Unfortunately, we're losing that line with him again and again. But Mrunalini, I have a final question to ask you also. You know, I debated this child marriage issue not so long ago. The problem that has also been identified as far as the Child Marriages Act is concerned, that actually doesn't, do anything to tackle the problem. Children can get married. They're often, made to get married by their families. Unless it's illegal, but they're also not void. Unless one of the minors at the age of 18 declares it void, it can also continue, but it is also illegal. Don't you think this entire act only is a little convoluted? How do you act against it?
Sujata, according to me, the point that is very important is that the Child Marriage Restraint Act is an act which prohibits children's marriages, and children who are below the age of 18 for a girl and 21 as far as the boy is concerned. The question that arises is that when you go for the registration of that marriage, the age will be taken into consideration. Now there are so many so-called marriages that take place. They take place in temples, they take place in home, they take place in other venues also. Now these marriages, there is no count of it, there is no accountability, there are no number of cases which have been sort of mentioned that these are the marriages. What are the marriages that we know of? Those which are registered. If I have to work on a statistics, it will be these are the number of marriages that have been worked on. Secondly, the issue about the Child Marriage Restraint Act comes in the event that marriage has to be annulled or it has to end into a termination of the legal relationship. At that point of time, we face quite a few issues in the courts when we deal with it. When we say at the time of marriage, the girl was under 18. So what are the provisions as far as that law is concerned? So that is tested in a court of law. When the marriage goes south or the relationship is broken and it goes to a competent court for its ideal sort of way of tackling with it. But what I agree with you is that why can we not stop the child marriage?
Exactly.
The question here is, can I tell you something which is a matter of fact? I can tell you something as a matter of fact that in Rajasthan, the child marriages are rampant even today. And the cops from Rajasthan attend those weddings. So, I mean, what else do you want? I mean, this is the kind of blatant disregard to the law of child marriages because they feel that their customs override what the law is.
No, but
Now,
is the law giving the power
to
the agencies, the police, to actually act on them? The power is not there. Unless you criminalize it, there will be no deterrent. The power is not there.
Exactly. It's a civil. It is a civil law, and Child Marriage Restraint Act is a civil law. If it is civil law, only the civil proceedings are applicable in terms of its annulment, divorce, or in terms of
then how do you stop this practice, which we all universally believe is wrong?
But then you need to amend that act to make it a criminal thing.
Exactly.
In the existing situation, it is not there. So if you want to make it effective, and I'm all for it, I'm not opposing it, but then you need to bring about the changes and not amend to the effect that you sort of levy cases of Pocso and all against it. I mean, this is taking it to the next level, which is absolutely unacceptable. But amend the law, make it a deterrent, make it something which
can you apply a law which exists but maybe not for this purpose, but employ it to be more forceful against these allegations? Pramod Swami is back with us. Let me try. I have limited time to get a reaction from him. Pramod Swami, how will you defend the government? लोग कह रहे हैं कि आप बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन कर रहे हैं और लोगों को प्रताड़ित कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, देखिए, जो 2012 में जो पोस्को एक्ट बना था यूपीए के समय में, उसी पोस्को एक्ट का हमने यहाँ में इस्तेमाल किया है. और देश पे जो संविधान है, देश पे जो कानून है, अगर उसका पालन करना अगर गलत है तो फिर इस पे हमें कुछ बोलने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर देश में अगर कानून को आप फॉलो नहीं करेंगे तो फिर इस तरह की जो चाइल्ड मैरिज जो है उसको रोकना काफी मुश्किल हो जाएगा. अब कोर्ट ने कहीं ऑब्जर्वेशन दिया है, लेकिन उन्होंने कोई निश्चित ऑर्डर इसमें नहीं दिया है. तो कोर्ट अपना ऑब्जर्वेशन दे रहा है, लेकिन कोर्ट ने ये नहीं कहा कि आप कार्रवाई को रोक दीजिए. तो कहीं कोर्ट का ऑब्जर्वेशन है, जिसका हम स्वागत करते हैं और हम इस बात को मानते हैं कि चाइल्ड मैरिज एक्ट के जो है उसको रोकने के लिए सरकार को अवेयरनेस के साथ साथ में कानूनी जो उसका दायित्व है, संविधान का जो दायित्व है, उस दायित्व का भी पालन करना पड़ेगा. क्योंकि जो टीन एज में जो हमारी जो बच्चियों की जो मृत्यु हो रही है, उसका जो रेशियो आसाम में जो है वो 60.80% है, लगभग 17%. तो टीन एज में अगर इस तरह हमारी बच्चियों की मृत्यु होगी 18 वर्ष से नीचे की, तो इसको भी रोकना आवश्यक है. तो वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट की बात तो विभिन्न राजनीतिक दल के और बुद्धिजीवी करते हैं, लेकिन जब वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट को बचाने के लिए, महिलाओं को सशक्तिकरण के लिए, महिलाओं के अच्छे स्वास्थ्य के लिए, अच्छी सुविधा के लिए अगर हम कानून
Okay. I think that's a fair point. There is obviously the right intent here as far as this is concerned. And there are always social collateral damages when you act against such social practices. The other thing also is that also recently we've seen that courts have given very different judgments, not observations, on whether an underage girl for a certain community can get married, can procreate, etc., when actually it is barred by law. So we need to get a consensus on these issues. They're creating a lot of confusion on ground. But I'll leave it at that. I do thank our guests for joining us. On the other side, the second India versus Australia test starts tomorrow in the national capital. Ahead of the match, we talk about Sar Jadeja, who was the star of the first test after coming back from injury. Is he an unheralded match winner for Team India? I get you a detailed stats-backed analysis of his impact on the Indian test team.